enlisted prayer.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's pray. Our gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for this time of year where we're able to begin gathering with family, friends, celebrate the season, celebrate the coming of your Son. Father, we thank you for the opportunity to participate in our local government. Thank you for the men and women who give up their time and, to do this. Father, we pray for them for wisdom, pray for them for clear heads, and mindful that we are all the same citizens of the same village, the same state, the same nation. May all that we do here tonight, Father, bring you honor and glory. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Pastor Nichols, Lisa, you want to call the roll?
James Tyson,
Present.
Mike Connors,
Present.
Glenn Dusa, here. Jerry Hayes,
Here.
Eric Rogers,
Here.
Timothy Waters.
Present.
Moving on to the minutes of November 28th, 2022. Can I get a motion to approve those minutes as presented?
Sure, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of November 28th, 2022 as presented.
I'll support that. Moved and supported. Any discussion? Lisa, call the roll, please.
Mike,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
Jerry,
Yes.
Gwen. Yes. James.
Yes. Motion passes. Presentation and communications. Danielle, this you?
Yes, I just really put this on there as information for the 22 water and wastewater professional workforce week. Governor Whitmer did a proclamation again this year. She did one last year as well. So I just listed our employees that work in water and wastewater daily, just to recognize them and thank them for all that they do for us. The second one is kind of related, if you're okay with me moving on.
Please do.
We did receive an award from Eagle for our source water protection program. Really is our water treatment plant working on that, and Nora taking the lead. So just wanted to again share that and applaud them for their work on that.
Nora and her team are extremely hardworking, so thank you. Do we need to mention anything about number 3?
Do you want to skip this and do it all together under new business?
Yeah, I think that's
That's
best.
absolutely fine, however you guys want to handle that.
All right. So, there's no objection. Let's move on to tonight's agenda. I'm going to ask that someone make a motion to flip the last number 6 with 5, just so that we complete business before moving on to the selection process.
I'll make a motion that we approve the agenda for tonight's meeting, that being December 12th, 2022, with taking into consideration moving numbers 5 and number 6, switching those two around.
I'll support.
You moved and supported. Lisa, you want to call the roll?
Eric,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Gwen. Yes. Mike,
Yes.
Jerry,
Yes.
James.
Yes, that motion passes. Moving on to public comment, items on the agenda. Nobody with any comments tonight? All right. Unfinished business, council, it's a pleasure. Anybody have any unfinished business?
I don't know if we would consider this, James, unfinished business or current new business regarding the Generac. I'm assuming that all trustees had the opportunity to read our email from Mr. Shadler, and I was curious if and when we would be putting it onto our agenda to discuss the next step with Generac. So I don't know where that might fall into place.
I have yet to have any discussions. That might be a good one for the meeting of the whole as well.
That's what I was curious about.
I'm not even sure that I seen that email. If you guys just,
He sent it out on Friday. It was
Right.
on Friday regarding he gave a brief description of the,
I don't think he copied me on that, but I can talk to him and see if we need to bring something and when would be a good time. that he can
Yes,
come.
from my understanding from his email
Well,
is that
if he's gonna be at the meeting, the whole
Yeah.
to discuss the legal representation,
That'd be
it's gonna be a great
perfect
time to hear from him as
Yeah.
well, so. Can we go ahead and put that on the meeting, of the whole?
yeah, of course. super.
Excellent.
Great, thank you for addressing that. And one more, as part of the old business would be the mirror. I know that that was something that was being looked at, Danielle, regarding that mirror there on Pearl Street. I'm assuming that that is still in the works.
MDOT did deny the request to be able to place a mirror there. I talked to, they had, I guess, my understanding, Britain had requested something similar and they denied them as well. We could do, and Brent and I were looking at it, I'm not sure how effective it would be, but we could do like one of those, it's just a little pole that has a sign that says pedestrian, crosswalk or watch for pedestrians, but really people should be stopping at the stop sign, which is behind the crosswalk, and then slowly pulling forward to see around that corner.
Well, that's,
So
that's,
I
of
just
course, that's
don't,
ideal, but unfortunately, when you creep forward, you go into that pedestrian lane, and therefore that, I mean, through no one's fault of driving, they could absolutely unintentionally hit someone. What was, did they provide a rationale, MDOT at all?
they did not, no.
Wow,
They just, it's not allowed in their right of way, and they said no.
okay, well, at least we did what we could do, but it just seems like there would be something more.
Yeah,
Chief, is there like do we own any like flashing stop signs or anything that we could put up temporarily to call attention to that?
You want to put flashing stop sign on Pearl Street?
Yeah, just to call attention to it for a limited time.
I don't see a reason why we couldn't. I believe that the issue with the mirror has to do with the safety concern that NDOT has for reflections and oncoming traffic.
Oh,
So,
It makes sense.
Yeah.
but MDOT is real funny because like when we have a power outage, especially with the intersections, we're into this issue before power goes out. Logic would dictate that we put up portable stop signs on each side of 23. That's not allowed by MDOT unless I man that intersection with a police officer or a volunteer or something of that nature. Which, if it's a police officer, it kind of defeats the purpose of putting the purple stop sign up. If it was any other street, I could do it all day long. But since it's 223, and even though it alleviates a safety hazard when the lights are out, MDOT won't let me put an unmanned portable stop sign up. Their reasoning on that one is that, well, when the power comes back on, a green light and a stop sign can be confusing to a driver. I think that danger is less than cars slamming into each other because there's no traffic control. That's argumentative, but I think I could check, but I don't see why MDOT would prohibit us from putting up like the flashing stop sign. They certainly do it in many of their other intersections out in the county. So,
Okay, thank you.
yep.
Would it possible, Jack,
Go right ahead.
is, I don't know if there's a sign back further to the south on Pearl Street to maybe warn of that intersection, you know, that it is kind of a blind.
and that's what Brent and I were looking at, is something to put back on the post saying, you know, pedestrians crossing further back from the stop sign. You'd have to, I think, put it on the, like if you're turning out of the parking lot, it almost have to go right there, so you're catching that parking lot traffic as well, but that might be another option.
Jerry, did you have anything?
I was just gonna tell Danielle I forwarded you that email from Phil.
Okay, thank you.
well, thanks, Danielle, for starting and completing that mission then for us. You and Brent, thank you.
Is that all yours?
Yes, it is, thank you.
Anyone else with unfinished? No, all right. Moving on, new business. Payroll.
Or motion to
Make a
approve
motion to
payroll.
approve the payroll register for November 2022 in the amount of $143,132.25.
I'll support.
Moved and supported. Lisa,
Lynn,
Yes. Mike,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
Jerry,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
James,
Yes. The motion is approved. Accounts payable, second motion.
I'll make a motion to approve accounts payable for the period of November 16th, 2022 to December 13th, 2022 in the amount of $237. I'm sorry, $433.56.
Support. Moved and supported. Does anybody have any questions regarding the bills?
no questions, but I do want to tell Danielle, thank you very much for the questions I did ask over the weekend and your prompt response on that. Thank you. You're welcome.
Seeing no others, go ahead, Lisa.
Jerry,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Gwen, yes, James,
Yes, that motion passes. Moving on, number 3, resolution of the 2023 MDOT annual permit.
You guys want.
Go ahead.
All right. So this is an annual permit that we request from MDOT. It's just a resolution authorizing us to do like parades and work within their right of way. So we just do it once a year and it's that time again. But if you have questions, let us know.
I'll make a motion, council approve that MDOT annual permit resolution as presented.
Support. Moved and supported. Lisa, call the roll, please.
Jerry,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
Gwen, yes, Tim,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
James? Yes, the motion passes. Moving on to number 4, approve Officer David Lew's Advanced Training Award. Chief, would you like to handle this?
Yeah, with the awards and recognition policy that we have an award for advanced training. And Officer Luce successfully completed the school resource officer training, which is nationally accredited. So in accordance with that policy, I was requesting that he be recognized for success in that class.
Thank you.
And Officer Luce is here, so good work, Officer Luce.
And he's been very busy at the schools, so he's done a good job, great job.
I'll make a motion then to award Police Officer David Luce that he received the Blissfield Police Department Advanced Training Award for his successful training and certification as a school resource officer with the National Association of School Resource Officers.
I'll second the motion.
Moved and seconded. No further discussion. Lisa, go ahead.
Tim,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Gwen, yes, Eric,
Yes.
Jerry,
Yes.
James,
Yes, that motion passes. Officer Lewis, thank you.
congratulations.
So now we skip up to item number 5, formerly 6, approve the wastewater treatment plant upgrade payment. Randy in attendance, go ahead.
Yes, and Denise is home ill, so she is not on Zoom, but this is just a payout for work that has been completed. It's been reviewed by the engineers and recommended for approval at this time.
I'll make a motion to approve the contractor's pay app number 21 in the amount of $120,822.91 in connection with the Village of Blissfield wastewater treatment plant project upgrade and authorize the village administrator to execute all documents related to this payment.
Support.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Darren.
How much is left in our contingency?
Can you bear with me for just a moment?
Sure.
And this is part of the initial contract amount too. But let me. $102,610.89.
Thank you.
Any other questions regarding the app? Nope. All right, Lisa, please call the roll.
Gary,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes,
Gwen,
Yes,
James,
Yes, that passes, thank you. Okay. Final item of discussion, approving and filling the vacancy. We went through this a little while ago and appointed Tim. Is my understanding we're gonna run through a similar type process? Is that correct?
Yes, so I am recommending a similar process. Of course, that being said, it is always council's pleasure on these things, but what I had recommended is, there's the interview questions. The last time we did this, you guys did one candidate at a time, asked them all of their questions, and then moved on to the next. I did provide copies of all of the letters of interest in alphabetical order by last name. Just wasn't sure how to organize those. And then you guys tallied, you rated your candidates. There were 4 the last time, so 4 being highest, 1 being the lowest, and then I scored them, and whoever had the highest score was the motion that was made. The only difference this time that I'm recommending is that we have your names on the sheet, because those will be retained in case there's any public that want to look to see how council voted. Otherwise, I prepared the forms for you guys. If you want to use the same process, you would list 8 as your first candidate and then go down to 1. And I put all of their names up top so you don't have to try to remember or fumble through papers. But if you guys are good with that process, again, that's what I'm recommending, but it is up to you.
I have 2 comments about the process. if
Go
I may.
ahead.
Number 1 comment is that this is something that happened after the fact with Tim being brought on board. The applicants, would it be appropriate for them to all remain in the same room, hearing each other's responses? I'm just asking. And then the second comment is this, is that Danielle, in the email that you had stated earlier, that the person that had the highest score, I would like us to maybe reconsider that, meaning this, that as we have 8 applicants and we have a number, let's just pretend it's the number of 36, and someone with a number of 35 and someone with a number of 34, that we would not necessarily take the person with the 36 number, simply because those numbers are very close to each other and have some possible discussion, versus a face value of you got the highest number and you're it. So I would just like to have that comment made and let you guys decide where we go from there.
Yeah, I do agree. It gives the last person to go an unfair advantage to hear the questions and hear the responses. So if we could sequester.
So we
Somehow.
cannot.
We cannot?
No, this is a public meeting, we do not. So the only thing that you guys, I mean, you can kindly ask the applicants to step out while the others speak, but we cannot make them.
Okay.
And this actually just recently came up with the DDA meeting, and we had looked into that as well. So it would be completely up to the candidates if they would like to step out or not. Sorry.
Nope.
Okay, that's what.
understood.
Rules. And then, yeah, we can obviously have a discussion as to the vote tally and choosing the candidate. If everyone's
Thank you.
amicable for that. All right. Well. The list of questions, there's 8 candidates. Do we want to narrow the list of questions? Possibly removing 1 or 2? Or do we want to set a time limit per person? Even at 10 minutes per person, that's an hour and 20 minutes. So it'd be a lengthy process. Although I want to have ample time to represent themselves. We happy with all 6 questions.
I like all 6 questions myself.
Okay,
I do as well.
all right, that's fine. The people have spoken.
Everybody kick back.
Is this a random order of people?
Literally, I put them in alphabetical order by last name.
Okay, but well, there you go, random.
Who's gonna keep it at 10 minutes? Who's gonna watch?
It's all right. So first on the list is Chris Cunningham, and I will just say if you want to get up and excuse yourself, please do, but if not, all other 7 candidates leave, then I would just request that everyone remain. So I guess as a group, you can decide now.
I'll think everybody else does.
I'm willing to step out. I'm confident in myself.
Okay. We have a yay from Mr. Gritzman. Anyone else?
Yeah, I as well. I'll step out if everyone else is on board with it.
Okay.
I'll also step out.
Well, aren't you, Mr.
Well,
Cunningham?
first, yeah. So that started off.
After your answer, you feel free to stick around, yes.
I have no problem with that.
Okay. And you are, sir?
Can be told.
Okay.
So I guess for those of you that want to step out because it is cold outside, you are more than welcome to go to the conference room
Sure.
here, but I do have to warn you, it's still a little bit of a mess from Wausau. Thank you, Laura.
Thank you for the volunteering as well. Mr. Cunningham, come on up. How are you this evening, sir?
It's been a long day, but so far so good.
Good. Well, thank you for putting your name in that hat. We appreciate that. I was happy to see 8 candidates apply. Kind of warmed my heart. And we had a number of additional candidates not elected as well. So a lot of interest in serving on the board. So I guess I'll go ahead and Gwen, if you want to start with 1, we'll just work down the.
Glad to. Hi, Chris, I'm Gwen Dusa. Nice to meet you.
Same here.
Question number 1, please describe your previous work in the community and how these experiences qualify you for a position on council.
So I'm pretty new to the community. I think that's what kind of sets me aside from everybody else. I moved into Blissfield about 2 years ago, January. Yeah, January would be 2 years. I am a small business owner in the area. I do support the stuff that goes on Main Street here. I am what is that called? A sponsor. There you go. Sorry for that. I'd like to get more involved. I'm still kind of learning the community and stuff like that. So with that being said, there's not a lot that I have for that question. So if you guys have any questions to rebuttal on that, that would be fine.
No. Any previous work in your former community?
No, so my history is 15 years of over the road truck driver. I own 3 trucks. Back in July, I actually sold all my equipment and started a concrete coatings company. So that is actually starting to get off the ground as we speak now, so.
Give some examples of group decision-making you have been involved with and how those experiences could be utilized on the council.
So the first one that comes to mind is the contract that we just signed with Atlas Oil. We are doing a 35,000 square foot project in Taylor. I sat across the table from 4 billionaires and negotiated a deal with them. So that's one. I'm very good with negotiation and going forward with that. So I think that would really help me with the board.
All right. Please describe how you would react to a situation in which the council voted 4-3 to approve a very contestable issue and you were on the dissenting side.
So I truly believe that it's really up to the community. If I had somebody come to me or a group of people come to me, that's how I would vote, not necessarily to benefit myself or fellow council members, but really towards the community and how they would like me to vote going forward.
Chris, my name is Eric Rogers. I'm the newest one here tonight. But I just want to ask you, please name 3 qualities a council member should have.
1, they should be able to listen. 2, have good negotiation skills. And 3, having the ability to come together and hammer out decisions.
You want to expand on any of those 3?
Making decisions, like I said, I know there's some turmoil with like the water plant and that stuff. I don't know a lot about that. That's part of, why I want to get more involved in this, so I can actually be informed when I'm talking to people. Just going forward with that, finding out where the board is and where I'm at, maybe a fresh breath of air that's not necessarily born and raised here could have some better, outside insight looking in on something like that.
Jerry?
Please describe how you would like the village of Blissfield to look in the next 5 years.
More profitable, not necessarily profitable, that might be a different wording. I really like what Blissfield offers. Me and my family were down here for the parade last night, or was it last night? Saturday night, yeah. Me and my family were here, we had a great time. A lot of the stuff that goes on the street, like the little like pop-up shops, and I don't know exactly what they're called, so excuse me for that, but the local businesses, Lena's Pizza, all that is awesome. I think that we should really get involved with the youth a little bit more and probably bring some of that and encourage them not only to, take a chance on themselves, but, bring more business into the area as well, so.
Thank you.
Chris, welcome. Thanks for your interest.
Appreciate it.
My name is Mike. What 3 adjectives would you use to describe yourself?
I'm very dedicated. I really believe that I am passionate about what I want and not necessarily what I want, what I think is right, and I stand up for what I believe in, so.
Chris, thank you so much for your interest. I'm going to give you one last opportunity to just summarize anything you think we would like to know about you or your thoughts, your feelings on council and public service.
Public service is really public service, you know what I mean? It doesn't matter if you're right, left, whatever, you're here to, take what the community is really looking for and take that into consideration. It shouldn't just be, a 4-3 or, whatnot decision. It should really come from what the community thinks and how the community should push the direction of the community, because that's what necessarily, like, the community is what we're here for. So other than that, there's not too much, other than I'm probably the youngest candidate. I'm sorry I didn't get the memo. No, I'm just kidding. I had to do it. I'm sorry.
He does speak his mind, you guys. He said he was.
So,
You're talking about when?
I'm not going that direction. I had to do it, at least to make you guys laugh. So I'm pretty personable. I'm easy to get along with. I can talk to just about anybody. That's just me. I don't think me sitting across, for 4 billionaires at Atlas Oil and negotiating a $300,000 deal with somebody was, just something that is not noticeable. You know what I mean? So I think going forward, I would be a great candidate for the board.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, thank you for your time. Feel free to stay. I think a decision will be made tonight. So actually, I'd ask you to stick around.
All right.
And see this through.
Only question, can I get a bottle of water?
Sure.
I'm sorry.
It's all right.
So, you want me to tell the next one to come in?
No, I got,
Okay, thank you.
thanks, Chris.
Everyone good with that? Just kind of one question each, run down.
Yeah.
Introduce yourself. Good.
We have to ask all of them the same exact questions too, I think, by law. So, I'll do it, yes. Yep.
Hello,
Hello, Mr. Nicola. Welcome.
Hello.
my name is Jimmy Tolan. We moved into the area last November. And I've lived in Michigan now for about 14 years. Prior to that, I lived in Pennsylvania for 25 years.
I'm just gonna ask you to pause there. We actually have a set of questions for you, and we'll get some discussion going throughout those question and answer process. Is that okay?
Yes,
Okay, great. So I'm gonna start with Wendy.
Welcome, Mr. DiTola. I'm saying that correctly, DiTola.
yes.
Gotcha, beautiful, thank you. First question, sir, is please describe your previous work in the community and how these experiences qualify you for a position on the council.
What I'd like to do is answer question 1 and 2 at the same time. Because I had, looking at what was published on the web, I think answering 1 and 2 is most beneficial. My background has been in food science, and like I said, for 25 years, I've been working for a large dairy in Pennsylvania. And I participated in a lot of multiple community organizations, which I chaired many of them and worked through the ranks as president and vice president and secretary and treasurer of those organizations. Many of times, the biggest takeaway that I could do is you have to listen to the people that are in the organization and what it is that they're trying to make as a point that they're trying to tell you. And whether or not it is a general consensus or whether it is looked at by more than just a small group that needs to be discussed, and whether it is warranted by a much larger group within the organization. In dealing with some of these organizations, I was dealing with many regulatory concerns, both from the state and federal government. There were a lot of times when I was dealing with a mixture of farmers, industry, and these regulatory concerns. And when you are sitting there as the chairman and trying to keep these 3 facets together so that there's not an argument that's taking place across the desk, sometimes it's a very interesting and rewarding, to say the least. Participation, I guess, especially when you're dealing with milk dealers that are across the state, each one having a business of their own. And there's an organization in Pennsylvania that was called the Milk Dealers. And as a chairman of the Quality Assurance Committee, we were trying to regulate or change the milk coding so that they could all extend the code date. The problem was that you had to come up with a process that you could legally test and develop a test that would be acceptable to the regulatory community, but trying to get 50 or 60 different owners of these businesses to accept 2 days or 4 days, and within a specific test result to accept that and be able to present that to the regulatory, that was quite an accomplishment to extend it for 2 days and then later on to 4 days within these reframes.
Sir, can you please describe how you would react to a situation in which the council voted 4-3 to approve a very contestable issue and you were on the dissenting side?
Again, it's when you're listening to people and you're making a decision, you have to, say, every decision that's made by a board, the unanimous side of the decision is whatever the board decides. If you're on the dissenting side, once that decision is made, whatever that decision is made, the board, when it leaves that room, you have to go out of the room with that joint positive information. It doesn't matter whether you voted against it. The board has to unanimously bind together in a positive manner to support that decision, whatever it is.
Thank you.
Very good.
Okay. Go ahead, Eric.
Please name 3 qualities of a council member should have.
You have to look at the present and see how you want to shape the future. For every decision that you make, it's going to impact. So you have to evaluate how that decision is going to impact the community and how it's going to affect the retired, the low income, the middle income, the farmer, the landowner, the utilities of the community, and any future commerce that's going to come in. And when it's time to open discussion, you have to be honest enough to voice your opinion, especially if you disagree with something, so that at least you can voice that opinion and have a little bit of discussion, positive or negative, so that everybody at least understands where you're coming from, and then everybody else can realize what that is.
Thank you. Jerry?
Please describe for us how you would like the village of Blissfield to look in the next 5 years.
In the next 5 years, I would like the community to still be a safe community to live in. I would like it to be affordable, so that not to drive people out of the community, but to still hold young blood to entice them to stay in the community. I would like to see increasingly more people, young people, being able to, that are not able to afford going to college, but have the opportunity to develop other means of support, whether it is supported by the community to form, maybe develop apprentice programs so that they have the ability to become carpenters or electricians or other trades, so that they learn to stay in the community, and that brings more opportunities to remain right here in the community.
Thank you. Mike?
Mr. Utola, welcome. What 3 adjectives would you use to describe yourself?
3 adjectives I would describe myself as: trustworthy, because I've worked in management all my life, and every decision that I've had to make has been because I have to have been honest and ethical. Second adjective would be dependable, because being reliable, I've had to be able to be counted on. And the third adjective would be diligent, because you have to have a conscious knowledge that the task you have has a specific time frame that it has to be done by.
Thank you. So thank you for your time. Thank you for your interest. Is there anything you'd like to summarize for us just about you that you feel we should know to consider, or when considering our decision?
in the last 14 years being in Michigan, I have not had the opportunity to participate in the community like I did when I lived in Pennsylvania. And that's the one reason why I wanted to apply to a vacancy here in Blissfield. And I have always enjoyed participating in the community, especially when I was able to join in cooperative extension and help develop leadership.
Thank you. So I encourage you to stay around. We are going to most likely come to a decision tonight. So if you want to see the process through, we'd appreciate it. And thank you again for your time and interest.
Thank you. Do you want me to go back to the other room or?
No, you can stay.
Thank you.
Did,
Yeah, he did go back.
He went back to the other room.
oh, you did? Yeah. I think you come out of it. I mean, it's just. Yeah, I guess it's up to him, but I think we should extend that offer to him. Ritz. Evening, Mr. Gritzmaker. Hello, sir. We have a series of questions we're going to go through. Okay, just gonna wait for my quick. Sorry. No. Sorry, I was unclear with that. That's my fault. We're gonna start with what?
Well, Mr. Gritzmaker, welcome. Please describe your previous work in the community and how these experiences qualify you for a position on council, sir.
Thank you. First of all, I'd like to say thank you to the entire council for this opportunity to present myself. And if I'm chosen, if I'm lucky enough to be elected or to fill the position, the great responsibility to represent the constituents and community of Blissfield. So I grew up in Palmyra, and I went to college in Texas, went to school here in Blissfield, college in Texas, and joined the military. But the entire time, this has been my home of record. What I've done here since I returned back from the military, I'm a past member of the Blissfield Area Lions Club, past president as well. I'm currently serving on the township board. We've been working on the solar power ordinance. I'm sure that's very popular topic around here. What I've done there is we've debated, we've discussed, we've listened to public comment. I've researched other communities in Michigan that are basically the same demographic as Blissfield that have an active solar policy. I've cherry picked, I've looked at their policies, I've cherry picked what I thought would benefit Blissfield from their policies. And I've discarded the stuff that I didn't think would fit here. I presented those and moved them forward to our panel, our solar policy panel, and we have come up with a relatively hearty draft, I believe. It just recently passed, got approved from Region 2, and it's coming back to the township now for final approval. I've also been an umpire for Blissfield Little League and baseball and softball since about 2013, maybe 1993 to 2019. I also served as in that capacity as the District 16 chief umpire for both little baseball and softball. I think that's all I can remember for. That's all I got my notes in.
That's fine, thank you.
Okay, but Jerry made a point that we have to ask the same question. No, I don't think so.
All right, hi, Tim Waters here. Give some examples of group decision-making you have been involved with and how those experiences can be utilized on the council.
Okay, well, I don't know if you know this about me, but I had 37 years in the Air Force. I've been in all levels of supervision, from frontline supervisor all the way up to chief enlisted, senior enlisted advisor from my troops. Through that 37 years, we have gone through several realignments and consolidations and merging of offices. And through those motions, we have to figure out what the new chain of command is gonna look like and who's gonna be in what positions and stuff. So I was involved in decisions like that. Like I said earlier, I remove my personal opinion from those decisions. I try to think logically and reason things out. And I present those, my opinions to the decision makers. I have input. Not everything that I suggest gets approved because they don't think it's a great idea. I do though. But they didn't see it that way. So, but I always try to be fair and equitable in my recommendations.
Thank you. Please describe how you would react to a situation in which the council voted 4-3 to approve a very contestable issue and you were on the dissenting side.
So again, like I said just a minute ago, I would present my opinion through the discussion portion. But again, I'm only one vote and one opinion. When it came down to the vote and I'm on the dissenting side, it passes 4-3. It's passed, the decision's made. Now it's my job to enforce that and sell it to everybody else that that I'm in charge of or however you want to say it. I will support that decision, even though it's not the one that I think was the proper decision. Does it make sense? Okay.
Thank you.
Please name 3 qualities a council member should have.
Again, I think this is easy. Integrity, okay? Do the right thing and the proper thing, especially when it comes to fiscal responsibility. You're dealing with taxpayer dollars. So there has to be transparency. That's the second thing. And there has to be accountability. That's the third thing. So integrity, transparency, accountability. If those all 3 work together, then your job is easy.
Please describe how you would like the village of Blissfield to look in the next 5 years.
Okay, so this is a little tougher. I don't know how that's going to exactly look, but I know what I think. I know which direction we should go. Oops, sorry. We should be moving forward. We should not be intimidated by technology, but I still want to keep that small town feel and appeal. But still respect the community and its needs. We'd like to grow. I would like to see us growing. There also needs to be, in my opinion, more support for downtown small businesses and shop owners. I think that's a weakness that we have currently, and we can improve that.
Thank you.
Sure.
Bill, welcome. Thanks for your interest. What 3 adjectives would you use to describe yourself?
Limiting it to 3 is a little hard. Is arrogant an attribute? So
That's an adjective.
So honesty, accountability, integrity, trustworthiness, fair, and impartiality.
Thank you. And thank you for your time. Thank you for your interest. Is there anything you would like to summarize for us that you would like us to know in the decision-making process tonight?
I trust your judgment. I think you guys are going to make the best choice. So good luck.
Thank you. And thank you again for your volunteering. And if you want to stick around, we are going to come to a conclusion, or hopefully we'll come to a conclusion tonight. So please have a seat.
Thank you.
Can you just get a minute? Yeah, I just want to pull these questions out. Anybody else need a minute?
Yep.
Break.
I do.
Do I get to stand up in front? Yep. Yeah. Bear with us one minute. Good evening, Matt. Thank you for throwing your name in the hat. We appreciate your desire to serve. We're going to go through a list of questions, starting with Glenn, and just work down the line.
Are we gonna follow the same questions on the sheet or?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep. So I'm going to start with Glenn.
Welcome, Matt. Question number 1 is going to be, please describe your previous work in the community and how these experiences qualify you for a position on council.
Okay, I've lived in Blissfield literally my whole entire life. Some of my first jobs were here in Blissfield. I worked at McDonald's, I worked at Subway when I was a kid. My family's also had a farm, the Blissfield Farms on Deerfield Highway. And that's, been a multi-generational farm, so. I think I'm pretty tied into the community. When I was running for office, I also did a lot of canvassing. I tried to hit every single house and talk to every single person in Blissfield. Obviously, that wasn't gonna happen, you can't talk to everybody just from knocking on doors, but I did hit almost every single house. And so I think I have a very unique perspective on what the actual citizens, the residents inside the town are feeling, what their specific issues are. Some issues, like the water plant, even if I didn't bring it up, it still got brought up. They brought it up every single time. So I've looked into the issues. I see how hard they are. I understand. But I also understand we need to start figuring out some creative solutions. We're losing residents here. People are skipping out. It's an issue. Yeah, I'll leave it there. I can go on in the interest of cutting things short.
So those are the experiences that qualify you for position is
Yeah,
living here in
exactly.
Blissfield. Okay.
And the fact that I've never been on the council or had any government position at all, I feel like that definitely qualifies me.
Okay.
I think government is a virus. If you stay in it too long, you get infected, and eventually you start infecting everything around you, and it metastasizes and kills everything. So you need to have specific ideas on what you should do in government, things that you need to fix. You need to do it and then get out of the way. People that stay in government, I don't think they have good intentions. So, yeah.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, Mr. Canablo,
Yes, sir.
give some examples of group decision-making you have been involved with and how those experiences could be utilized on the council.
Okay. I'm gonna go back to my Marine Corps days. I was stationed in the Airline Providence with 1-7 weapons. When I was there, I was in a billeted position as a staff sergeant. I led patrols, and my unit, we replaced 9 battalions of Army infantry with 1 battalion of Marines, and under my tutelage for our patrols going out, doing contacts, something I did every single day, patrol the contacts. We were able to turn the tide of the war and take over the ALM bar. That was a big deal. That was something that America was really struggling with. We were seeing terrorists from all over the world infiltrate in. We had an Olympic shooter that came and was killing our guys with one of our rifles and our night vision goggles because they were mismanaged. They were accidentally given to the enemy, and we had to deal with that. I was one of the people that dealt with that, and that's one of them. Another one is when we came home. I got put in charge. I have 11 certificates of accommodation from generals, admirals, all sorts of people about the training that we did. 29 Palms was a unique training environment, and it was a direct analog for both Iraq and Afghanistan. It was a very dry, arid, rocky, sandy environment. It was a high desert. It was a perfect training environment. And it seems how we had just gotten back, and the success that we had seen in the ALM bar really drove them to push us into the training. So then I took on training everybody in the Army, the Marine Corps, the Navy, even some other people, some other countries. Thailand, I remember, was one of them that came in, and we trained those people too. And we continue to see great success under those new training operations that I was helping to run. We can move forward a little bit to after that, and I was then put on Provost Marshal's office, and I was very rapidly promoted to a vehicle commander. I had my own vehicle and I was driving out, doing stops. I responded to a number of incidences, domestic incidences, and I don't know if anybody that's done the research knows that military bases have almost zero crime. It is the best place to raise a family. If you want to talk about how to keep the town safe, the things that we need to implement and do, there's nobody better to talk to than somebody who has worked intimately in the military police, in the provost marshal's office. I get there are cops out here that have worked for the big city, that have done the big city thing. If we look at the big city, they got big city crime. If we look on military installations, they have almost no crime. In Blissfield, traditionally, we've had almost no crime, and I want to keep it that way. There are specific things that need to happen in order to do that.
Thank you. Please describe how you would react to a situation in which the council voted 4-3 to approve a very contestable issue and you were on the dissenting side.
Okay. I guess as long as everything was on the up and up, then, you know, what are you gonna do? Everybody's voted, right? I guess you'd go to the advance and you could have them write a story about it. As long as everything's truthful, then I don't see what the problem is to get your side of the story out there. We do that in national politics. There is always the dissenting of view when the Supreme Court comes out with its stance. I don't think it would be proper to do anything more to try and directly stand in front of stuff. For president, every 2 years, we have an election. If you don't like it, run for office. That's what I did.
Yes, thank you.
Ma'am, please name 3 qualities a council member should have.
Honor, integrity, and courage.
Matt, will you describe for us how you'd like to see the village of Blissfield in the next 5 years?
Yeah, I'd like to see it how I was when I was a kid. I remember driving down the streets with my dad when I was a kid, coming up to the barber shop up here to get my hair cut, and sitting in the truck, waving at everybody, and everybody waved back at us. That, you know, I talked to people a couple of years ago. I was down in the park, and I was talking to a guy, and they weren't even from the area. They were from like Tecumseh or, you know, up by Dundee or down Toledo or something. I don't know. They weren't from the area. And they said they had heard about this area. They were talking about it like it was a magical freaking land, right? And they, you know, they're like, hey, I didn't know places like this existed anymore where people will come up and they'll talk to you, they'll shake your hand, they'll just have a good conversation with you. And that's exactly what I did. I didn't know this person. I was down in the park, you know, using the stuff, the kid stuff with my kid, you know. So I just stopped talking to another parent. And that's what we do here in Blissfield. That's what I think is the most important thing here in Blissfield, is to keep Blissfield what Blissfield is. And part of that, a big part of that, I think I would argue the major, you know, most important part of that is keeping the residents that are already here. Every time you bring somebody in, you're rolling the dice. You really are. You're rolling the dice every time you lose a good resident from Blissfield, that somebody that you don't know, a family that you don't know is going to move in here, and who knows? And I'm not trying to disparage anybody that's come from any place else recently. I'm just saying I want to preserve what we have here. So I guess by definition, that makes me conservative. That doesn't make me happy, but well, I mean, seriously, what have the conservatives conserved in the past 100 years? Nothing. But I want to try something. If I'm not here to try, then who's going to, right?
You're right. Matthew, welcome.
Anything else?
Yes, one more.
Yes. What 3 adjectives would you use to describe yourself?
Oh, I would say I am persistent, aggressive, and doggedly perseverant.
Matt, thank you again for your interest and your time tonight.
Right on.
We have a short time to get to know you. Is there anything you would like to summarize about you for us that we could use in our decision making tonight?
I think, I mean, like I already mentioned it once before. I think it's important to know that I've already talked to a lot of the residents here. And I've got a really good pulse on the heartbeat of what the residents are saying around town. And I think that goes a long way. That's something I don't know 100%, but I didn't see anybody else out there going house to house, door to door, knocking on doors, talking to people, but I did. And that was because I really wanted to know, I know what I feel, I know what I believe, but I want to know how to best represent the people of Blissfield. And if there's any other issues, and I found a couple of them. Some people had plowing issues, and there's also some safety issues that I'd like to bring up that I don't think anybody is talking about. Out here at the new apartments, they often have parties and they park cars on both sides of the road. The road is so narrow that when they do that, you can't fit an ambulance down through. And there is no parking signs on either side of the road. This is a problem that could easily be fixed. But with a woman that's at the end of the circle, the roundabout right down there, that is frequently needing medical attention, this is a disaster waiting to happen. This is something that is very cheap and easy that the city council can get on. And I would say a good 50% of the residents that I talked to either came out of their house to talk to me and address this issue to me directly, or I, had talked to them, and that's when, they brought it up. So, and there's a couple other issues like that around town that I think that I'm uniquely qualified to handle.
Thank you. And thank you for your time. So we are going to try to come to a conclusion tonight.
Okay.
So I'd ask you to just wait and hear the results.
Right on.
Thank you. Hi. Hi, Jennifer. Welcome. Thank you for your interest in serving. We're going to ask a series of questions. Each council member is going to take one. We're going to start with one and just work our way down.
All right.
Okay.
Hi, Jennifer Wendusa. Welcome. Thank you. Please describe your previous work in the community and how these experiences qualify you for a position on council.
Well, I did volunteer on the River Reason Festival one year, and I participate in the majority of the events, like the Yuletide days and everything that went with that. I attend the festival every year, and I do support a lot of the local businesses. I feel like I have a pretty good feel on the community and the different types of people here.
Thank you.
Hi, Jennifer, Tim Waters here. Give some examples of group decision-making you have been involved with and how those experiences could be utilized on the council.
Well, I have facilitated some high-level committees in my career, medical executive committee, credentials committee, quality, surgery, policy and planning. And I always make sure that I have a working knowledge of the bylaws, the rules and regulations. A lot of what I've done in the past and what I do now is there are a lot of local and federal laws that apply and like CMS regulations. And so I make sure I have a good working knowledge of that so that I can guide the committee to making the right decisions, staying on the right track. And I also have a Master of Science in Criminal Justice with an emphasis on legal studies, which I found very helpful.
Thank you.
Jennifer, please describe how you would react to a situation in which the council voted 4-3 to approve a very contestable issue and you were on the dissenting side.
Well, first and foremost, our duty is to the people of Blissfield. So whatever decision was approved, I would want it to succeed for the good of the community. And there's always an opportunity to go back and revisit ideas. And there's also a learning opportunity that goes along with that.
Thank you.
Jennifer, could you please name 3 qualities a council member should have?
I think integrity would be the most important. A desire to collaborate and ability to work with others, and also the time to serve.
Hello,
Will you describe for us how you'd like to see the village of Blissfield in the next 5 years?
I like to see it continue to be a great and safe place to live and raise a family. I like to see the local businesses continue to flourish and develop new businesses. And maybe to not have any vacant spots, and maybe like where the old pool was, have that filled with something. This really is a safe place to live, and I'd like to see it continue.
Thank you.
Jennifer, welcome. Thanks for your interest. What 3 adjectives would you use to describe yourself?
Accountable, collaborative, and organized.
Jennifer, I'd just like to thank you for applying, your desire to serve. We have a tight time space to get to know you and make a decision. Is there anything you'd like to summarize for us, or any information you'd like us to know in the decision-making, our decision-making process?
Well, I've lived here for 10 years, and I feel like I'm at a place where I have the time to serve and to give back to the community. My children are raised, they're establishing themselves, and I'm just very interested in giving back to the community where I felt welcome these last 10 years.
Thank you.
Thanks.
So we are going to come to a conclusion tonight, or hopefully come to a conclusion. So I just ask you to stick around and see the process there.
Thank you.
Okay. Does anybody need a break? Restroom or otherwise? You get some idea. Everyone can move on. Want a break? No, I had to get a breather because I was digging through papers in between, and I was like, I'm good now. I'm good
Need
now.
more space?
No, I'm good. Yeah, a little more elbow room.
He says, I'm sure it's like.
I'll move back down there. It's good down there. It's hot here too, I'm right under a light. Ears are on fire. Yeah.
We need to.
Are you team today? Hi, good evening, Mrs. Luce.
Hello.
So welcome and thank you for your desire and your application to serve. We're gonna ask you a series of questions. We're gonna start with Gwen and just work our way down the
All right.
Hi, Sherry, welcome.
Thank you.
Gwen Dusa. Please describe your previous work in the community and how these experiences qualify you for a position on council.
Okay, I've done a few things in the community. I've listed a couple here that I'll talk about. I was involved with the Hanover Horton 4th of July celebration for years when we lived in the village of Hanover. Worked with the committee members to organize the vendors, the parade, the entertainment. Sometimes it was 2 or 3 day celebration. I was also a member of the Lions Club who did fundraising and helped provide glasses and hearing aids for people in need. We also supported the local food bank. We would do things for the school, support school when they needed support. I was also a member of the downtown Kiwanis Club in Jackson. We would do yearly boot and shoe drives for the underprivileged children in the Jackson area. We also adopted a family every year, and we would shop for Christmas gifts, food, and we also would deliver it. So I also coached cheerleading, which is my passion. I did that for 2 years in Hanover. And while I was coaching, I required our cheerleaders, we would volunteer and work the concession stands at the different athletic events. We also volunteered to help with the My Way youth wrestling tournaments that were at our school too. And at first our girls were like, wow, we gotta do wrestling. And I'm like, and then they loved it. And every year they're like, are we gonna do it again? Are we gonna do it again? And these organizations always came to us first because they knew that we would do it. So with that being, I've done a lot with the community. I love working with the community. I think Blissfield is an amazing community, which is why I'm hoping I have the opportunity.
Thank you.
Hi, Sherry, Tom Waters. Give some examples of group decision-making you have been involved with and how these experiences could be utilized on the council.
Okay, I worked with the county for 23 years, was on several different committees. One ones that I'm a little bit more proud of and probably had more experience that I could bring here was, I was on the union negotiating committee. And so we worked a lot with the county officials and stuff. And so my experience and skills that I bring here is the ability to listen to the union members and the county officials on wants and needs to where we came to ratifying a contract.
Thank you.
Please describe how you would react to a situation in which the council voted 4-3 to approve a very contestable, contestable issue, and you were on the dissenting side.
I will always vote for what I feel is best for the community. If I am on the dissenting side, I will respectfully go with the majority vote. I would respect that vote.
Thank you.
Could you please name 3 qualities a council member should have?
I think a council member should always have an open mind. I think a council member should always be unbiased. And I also think that a council member should have integrity.
Hello. Tell us how you, or describe how you would like to see Blissfield in the next 5 years.
I would like to see Blissfield continue to get more businesses coming into the community. However, I would like to see it to be a go-to destination. You know, you see a lot of the smaller communities starting to be a go-to community. I can see where we have some things going on like the Starlight Lounge. You know, those are things that my kids are saying, oh, we need to go there someday, you know. And so I'd like to see new businesses come in, but I'd also like to keep it the nice, keep the Blissfield family friendly community and keep the charm of the historical values we have here in Blissfield.
Thank you.
Sherry, welcome. Thank you for your interest in serving. What 3 adjectives would you use to describe yourself?
I consider myself a very positive person. I believe there's good in everything. If there's not, I try to find the best part of whatever that is. I'm confident and I'm very organized. To the point I drive my family crazy.
Thank you again for your interest. Is there anything you'd like to summarize for us or any information you'd like for us to know when making our decision tonight?
I think all my years of experience working with the county and in the community where I came from, which was Jackson County, I think I could bring a lot to the council. Ideas. Can't think of any ideas right now, but I've lived here for a year. I've always thought this was a great community. Always told my husband if he ever wanted to move back home that I'd be willing, you know. So here I am. When we moved here a year ago, I thought, you know, I'd really like to get involved with the community somehow. And seeing this email, because I get the emails with, get the emails with the minutes and stuff, and I'm like, you know what? I think I'm going to try this. It'd be a great opportunity to meet you all, meet people who work and live in the village as well.
Thank you. Thank you again for your interest and your time tonight. We are going to try to come to a conclusion, so I ask that you just stick around and hopefully we'll have an answer.
I thank you for giving me the opportunity.
We're crashing into each other, sorry about that, sir.
No, good. I don't do paper. Okay, I don't do paper. This, you know, we talked about technology. Let's go paperless. There's a stack of paper. We give you a stack of paper. Thinks I can manage it. Hello, Barb. Thank you for your time tonight and your interest in council. We're going to go through a series of questions, starting with Glenn and working our way down.
Welcome, Barb. First question is, please describe your previous work in the community and how these experiences qualified you for a position on council.
Well, I've been on the Chamber of Commerce for 10 years. I was treasurer there. I've been on the DDA board for over 20 years. And I've been on the Michigan Main Street Board, which is a combination of the DDA, Main Street. But I was there since its beginning, and I feel like I helped get it into town. And I've been on the design committee just as long. And I've been on council for 4 years, so I have that experience, and have been very involved, I feel like, in town, all of that. So all of that leads up to the fact that I'm up to date on all the events in town, all the boards, know who's on them, what they do. I've been on committees, I know what the committees do. I know what the capital projects are and where they're at, and if they're started or finished. I know about the water treatment plant, the wastewater treatment plant. I know what steps, just where they're at, and the parks, and the pool, and the library. And I know there's more, but that's the ones I could come up with fast. So I have a long background and understanding in town, in the community. I am the only candidate with experience on this board. And I was right behind Tim in votes when we just had the election in November. So I feel like I'm part of the town, thinks I could do a good job. And I'm the only person out here who ran for trustee in November. Matt ran for president, but I'm the only one who ran for trustee. So. Thank you,
Hi, Mark.
Hi.
Give some examples of group decision-making you have been involved with and how those experiences could be utilized on the council.
Well, I have over 20 years of meetings in Blissfield. My grandkids think that's all I do at night, just go to another meeting. But that gives me a lot of experience in what's going on in Blissfield and knowing what the different groups are doing and trying to inform this committee and that board and this person, what the others are doing, so that everybody's on the same page. I feel like we've made a lot of progress in that in the years I've been here helping.
Thank you. Barb, please describe how you would react to a situation in which the council voted 4-3 to approve a very contestable issue, and you were on the dissenting side.
That's happened several times while I was there. I try very hard to stay calm and fair and listen with an open mind. I want to hear both sides. And I vote for the people. I feel like that's why you're all up there, is for the people. And if we don't listen to what they have to say, then, and just have our own agenda, what are we doing? But I accept the vote, whichever way it goes. And if it's not the way I voted, then I still accept it and move forward and do the best for the people that we can.
Thank you.
Could you please name 3 qualities a council member should have?
Number 1 is honesty. Number 2 is integrity. And number 3 is commitment for me. I feel I've been very honest. I feel like I have integrity. I feel like I'm committed. I miss very few meetings. Even when I went to Florida to see my brother before he passed away, I got on Zoom and attended the meeting on Zoom. So. And next, you wouldn't have to spend a lot of time updating me on all those events and issues and capital projects. I already know what's going on with that. Just slide right in.
Thank you.
Please describe how you would like to see the village of Blissfield, how you would like it to look in the next 5 years.
I want to shorten it to 2 years. because our bicentennial is coming up in 2 years. And I don't think we're ready for it. I know others don't either, but we need to clean up a little bit more. There's a few businesses that need to be, the facades cleaned up some, and, we need to spruce our town up and make it look good. And we need to have public restrooms for that big bicentennial we're gonna have.
Barb, thanks for your continued interest. What 3 adjectives would you use to describe yourself?
Honest, trustworthy, and committed.
Barb, thanks again for your time tonight and your desire to serve. In an effort to make a decision, is there anything you would like us to know? Is there anything you'd like to summarize for us about you that you'd like for us to consider in our decision tonight?
I just said it.
That's a fine answer. So thank you again for your continued interest. Please have a seat. We're one more candidate and then we should make a decision. Still willing to talk. Hi, Mr. Peters. Welcome and thank you for your desire to serve. We're going to go through the series of questions here, starting with Gwen and just working our way down the table.
So welcome, thank you for attending. And my name is Gwen Dusa. First question for you, sir, is please describe your previous work in the community and how these experiences qualify you for a position on council.
Absolutely. So I'm a new resident of Blissfield, so work in this local community. I do not have any experience. My previous experience, I have worked with downtown development authorities while I lived in Wyandotte and served on committees involving community engagement there. I have also worked with local charities as part of my job roles, working for in the IT sector at various institutions.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Peters, Tim Waters here. Give some examples of group decision-making you have been involved with and how those experiences can be utilized on the council.
Absolutely. In my role as an IT manager, I've been involved as a member of the board of directors for the credit union I work for. We often had regularly scheduled meetings discussing budgets for the departments and the credit union as a whole. So I know there's tough decisions that are made as part of this board. I've also been involved with Michigan Credit Union League's board for their Crash Michigan program, which was involved in attracting and retaining young talent to the credit union industry in the state. We made several key decisions about personnel we would appoint to our board and try and get involved with our group for the Credit Union League.
Thank you.
Please describe how you would react to a situation in which the council voted 4-3 to approve a very contestable issue and you were on the dissenting side.
So as part of the democratic process, I know that there are a lot of votes that, especially lately, have become very polarizing and decisions are often close, but it's important that members of the council respect those decisions when those votes are made, and there are opportunities given to clarify a dissenting opinion if needed.
Thank you.
Could you please name 3 qualities a council member should have?
Sure. Number one, I think commitment. I think it's a big responsibility to be on the council, to keep informed of what's going on in the community and what issues are to be discussed. So being committed to being informed and making the right decisions for the community is very important. 2, integrity. Goes without saying, every member of the council needs to have integrity and be truthful and transparent in their decision making. Last but not least, I think empathy is a key characteristic that every member of the council should have. I think it's important to put yourself in the shoes of every citizen of the village.
Please describe how you would like the village of Blissfield to look in the next 5 years.
As a recent citizen, I don't have a whole lot of history to go on with how the village has looked over the years, but I was very drawn to it when we moved here. I'd like that in the next 5 years, this village remain as safe as it is today. I also think there is a ever-growing need to attract businesses and new citizens to the village. So certainly creating policies that help that along are very important.
Thank you.
Jason, welcome. Thank you for your interest. Willing to serve. What 3 adjectives would you use to describe yourself?
I think honorable, as a former Marine who enlisted during 9/11, it's honor, courage, and commitment have been 3 of the traits I've tried to live by since enlisting. Optimistic, I like to think that I always try to see the good in the situation, knowing that the best outcomes aren't always going to happen, but we certainly can plan and prepare for them. And lastly, I would say energetic, young and willing to put in the work and the hours to do the job, no matter what that is.
Just before you go, to help us make an informed decision, is there anything you'd like for us to know? Is there anything you'd like to summarize for us that we can possibly take away and put towards a decision?
I think lastly, one of the things that drew me to applying for this position, as a position that will be appointed and not elected by the citizens of the village, I think it's important that the person in this position try to be a moderate voice of reason on the council, not willing or not looking to push an agenda or idea until that person is duly elected in the next election if possible.
Thank you, and thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you.
We want to just have a seat, and I think we'll continue with the process. So Danielle, is it my decision, my understanding then that we will rank the applicants, 8 being the top pick, 1 being, and the highest score indicates.
Correct.
Okay.
And if you guys want to pass them down to me, I'm ready to go and total them up.
Okay, thank you. Well, as we're waiting results, I'd like to thank you all again for your time tonight and your interest. I'd also encourage you, if you're not appointed tonight, to look for other volunteer opportunities throughout the village. We have a number of committees, councils, festivals. We have a new DDA director who's always looking for help, and she's doing really great things. I can't tell you how much I've enjoyed the festivals with our old DDA director and what Lauren Nichols has continued to do. So please look to volunteer. That's how this village is able to operate and function. And
Mr. President, can I plug planning commission? Because we have 2 open seats.
And planning commission is a vital, needed. We're going to hear tonight about a potential issue that planning commission is going to probably have to take on. So yeah, it's very rewarding. Mike, you've served on planning, right? No? Is that the one board you haven't served on? And I hate to say it, but the township level as well, they always need help and volunteers, and it's also very rewarding. So village first though.
While she's tabulating that, I guess I would second that. What a, exciting turnout and group of interested parties. I think it's great that we've got a lot of business owners, we've got a lot of people that put in a lot of time, a lot of dedicated people, but so to see some fresh faces and to have a very solid background, very good history. I mean, it's been a tough decision. Every candidate here is absolutely qualified and in their own certain ways, and that to me is exciting and well taken. So I appreciate everybody's interest, and much like James said, tons of committees, whether it's civic, whether it's government, whatever, get involved, because that's what does make our village flourish. So thanks to everybody's interest.
Mike.
Danielle,
you look like you have something to say.
Buddy to double check me at all? I mean, I'm confident in what I have, but.
Is it close?
It's fairly, yes.
Yeah, maybe we'll double check it then.
Do you want to do it, Lisa? Or Brandon, or I don't care.
Get over there, treasurer.
So I know I'm not on the board yet, but would you guys mind going into a little bit of your background since I'm a little bit newer here?
Sure. So my name is James Eitzen. I am the current president. I was elected a village trustee 4 years ago. I've been a resident 14, 15 years now. My wife is from the area. I'm not. When we had a family, we decided to move back. It was a much more family community environment, sidewalks and open doors, and neighbors informing me that my kids have gone by and they've seen them not wearing their jackets on the way to school. So I had 2 in the school system, 1 in the high school, and 1 in the elementary school, and I don't know. I've always wanted to do something like this. My father was both my parents were heavily involved in service organizations, and I just thought this was a sort of a neater step above what they do. So it's just a friendly competition, and so that's why I decided to run. Mike, you want to start here?
Born and raised, small town Blissfield. Went away to college to U of M for a few years, but I've been here all my life. My father was the chief of police for many years, just kind of followed the interest in government and politics from him. Big supporter of our employees and our staff. They're the people that make the town run the day-to-day operations, and I'm very proud of our staff and that sort of thing. I love this town. I love to see us flourish. I like to be dedicated and put my efforts into it. So, you know, I've served on the DDA, served on the design committee. Just very rewarding, challenging at times, but all in all, servant heart. So I just want to do what I can to better the community. And I've been here since 2003.
I'm Jerry Hayes. I'm also a lifelong resident of Blissfield. I have one son who's 21. I spent 10 years on Blissfield Fire Department, 10 years on Palmyra Fire Department. Much like Mike, just a servant heart, spent 4 or 5 years as board president for Neighbors of Hope, which is a nonprofit in Adrian that runs a men's, now a women's homeless shelter and drug interdiction program. Served on Associated Charities Board for a while. I'm now a Lions Club member for the past 3 years now, so take part in that. And all the while, I was in broadcasting for 18 years too, so I had several people in town want me to run for village council, and at that time I couldn't because I would have had to give up my on-air job, just because of the state laws, which I get, but so I didn't. Then George Brown stepped down and he was after me to put my name in, so I did. And I was appointed to council in the summer of 2020, ran in 2020 in the fall of 20, and was elected to a 4-year term.
I'm lifelong Eric Rogers. I'm a lifelong resident of Blissfield. Lived here all of my life. Lived in the village all of my life, much like several other people that are on board. I was involved for 20 years with Blissfield Little League. That's probably the biggest community service project that I did in various different capacities on that board. Anywhere from a coach all the way up to the president of the league for several years. I've also served on the district level for the state of Michigan for Little League. My dad was a previous council member back in the mid-90s till very early 2000s. And that's kind of where I'm at now. I'm the new guy on the board. I was just voted on here in November and looking forward to continuing on with the great things that have occurred in this village. I love this town, lived here all my life. Wouldn't be here if I didn't like it.
Tim Waters, lifelong resident, grew up across the street from Jerry.
Me or him?
Well, we didn't play baseball together because he couldn't hit my pitches. So.
Right, I could.
But anyway, I have 6 brothers and 1 sister. And my wife Esther is here. She's attended every council meeting with me. And we've been married for 34 years. I was appointed by council in September of 21. Luce, what was his first name? Jan Luce passed away. He was on council. And I submitted a letter of interest like you all did. And I was appointed. I am a pastor of Bible Holiness Church here in Blissfield on Lane Street for 20, how many years? 22, 23 years. We have a bus ministry. I drive the bus. I work for Schrader Tire Oil on the west side of town. I've been there 27 years. I'm a truck driver, a logistics manager, complaint department, HR, IT, everything that goes along with it. I'm not a tech guy like our president. I like paper. When the internet goes down, he's going to be trying to scramble and find what he's doing. I'll be ahead of the game. I'm old school. Right. I'm a youth camp director down in Anderson, Indiana. We have around 60 children, young people that come there I'm a commission's treasurer for our denomination. And I think it's Gwen's turn.
Okay, thank you. Gwen Doucette, and I am not a lifelong resident. I've been here 32 years, however. I've been a teacher for 32 years as well over at Bedford Schools. I'm very involved with our union negotiation team and things like that. So when you did say that, Mrs. Luce, I was understanding all the things that come with negotiations and all the ins and outs of it. I've been a 6th grade teacher, 5th grade teacher, and currently a 4th grade teacher, so I deal with little people a lot. But I like those little people. They keep me young and I dig it. I have been involved in the Blissfield Main Street when it initially came on as well many years ago. And then was on part of the promotions committee as well, and helped out with many of the events, was a part of that responsibility. I love Blissfield. When many of you were talking, I think Mike, how you had said it as well, is that I love our little village. I do. I like the whole thing about how people can talk to each other, and we do wave and talk, and we know what's going on. I'm a little sad that I don't know some of you people that have applied today, and I'm just like, going, wow, there's just a lot of people that we just don't know. But I applaud you guys obviously coming on board, because we have to start somewhere. But Blissfield is a great spot to live. I know when I did a lot of the events, and I loved, well, I like to talk to people and I like to talk as well, but I like to survey people, and why are you here? You know, so when they would come down here and they would, you know, why are you here at the car and bike show? Well, we love Blissfield. Well, why do you like it? And they would tell me. And sometimes I think we shoot ourselves in the foot. You know how sometimes we're our own worst enemy at times. There's so much that other people see that we do so well. And what a good community we are, that we don't always see it, you know, but we know when we really sit here and listen to you people that have come to move in here specifically in the last couple of years, it just made my heart warm to think, oh my gosh, we still got it by God. I like that, you know, it's just very nice.
You know Wayne Meehan by chance?
Wayne Meehan?
Yeah, he was on the board at Bedford for a while.
I know that name Meehan, yes.
That's my grandpa.
How old is your grandpa? Don't dare tell me he's just 60 either.
Can we go back across? I'd like to know each one of you, just really quick, no long backtrack, just, you know, 1, 2, 3 words. What is the most pressing issue that we have that affects residents right now?
The most pressing issue.
If you went out and talked to residents, what is the, 90% of them are gonna tell you is an issue?
90% of them are gonna tell us water issues.
That's an easy one. What she
Do
said,
you agree?
water.
Water.
I'm gonna say it's a lack of understanding.
Oh, okay.
Some transparency.
I'm gonna say water and couple that with infrastructure upgrade.
Which would, yeah, kind of work.
Okay.
Yeah.
Infrastructure, budget, and misinformation.
Information. Okay, yeah.
Are we on
Or
cue with your
transparency,
results?
clear.
Yeah, actually you are, and I actually like what Aitzen says. We need more transparency, and a lot of people just flat out don't, it's bad to say, they just flat out don't understand the issues. When I went over and I did. It wasn't until I went over the water treatment plant and I started talking to people that I got a much better understanding of things. And I got quite a bit more understanding when I talked to a couple engineers that I knew, very high level engineers. I also talked to, I think every single person that works at the wastewater treatment plant and our, you know, freshwater drinking water plant.
The water treatment.
Yeah, and there are definitely some things that can be done. There are some things that need to be addressed. There's some passing of the buck that,
Well, I would say that this council in the last 2 years has not passed the buck.
I wasn't talking about you, actually.
No,
I'll talk about Nora if we want to get specific.
No, I think this council can agree that we've been open about what we don't know. We've been open about how we haven't been able to keep up with infrastructure upgrades and maintenance and whatnot. And you know, going forward, that's just probably the biggest pressing issue is capital improvement budgeting and making sure that we can provide safe, sustainable drinking water in a safe, sustainable community.
What are we gonna do? Because I do agree with
But
you.
this, I'm gonna call point of order. I'm sorry, Matt. I'd love to talk to you further. Please drop by. Danielle, results?
Bill Gritzmaker, 41, Sherry Luce, 37, Jason Peters, 34, Chris Cunningham, 28, Barb McHenry, 26, Jennifer Lamley, 24, James and Matt both were at 13.
Can I get,
I-
can you run through that one more
Thank you. I
time?
was gonna say-
We don't need the scores,
That
just the
will-
names.
Bill,
Yep,
Sherry,
yes,
Jason,
yes,
Chris,
yes,
Barb,
yes,
Jennifer,
yes.
James or Matt, either way.
I'm gonna open it up to discussion to council, if there is discussion, and if not, well, let's start there. Let's start with any discussion if there's anyone so moved.
Can you give me just 1 second?
Yes. take your
Thank you.
time. I'll say that the top three for me have very well thought out presented answers. That's something that's hugely important during discussion is if you can concisely relay your thoughts and your position. And I really do appreciate how they answered in concise manner. So thank you. Those are all well thought out answers, very well presented.
I don't think it would be an issue, but Danielle, may I ask this question at this time regarding regarding Bill? Any issues with the township versus the village? How would that work in this aspect, please?
I would actually defer to Bill to address that. There is a state law that, how he would handle that, I defer to him, but
Okay,
he would not be able to serve on both boards.
Okay.
Bill, can you address that?
Yes.
Yes, please.
This is okay.
Podium if you don't mind, thank you.
Bill, if I can answer for you, I'm assuming you would, given your interest, you'd give up serving on the township board, is that correct?
But I want to explain
Sure,
what
go
I've
ahead.
done. So so in the last meeting, the last monthly meeting we had, I expressed to them that I was going to apply for this. I was going to put my letter of interest in. And I asked their opinions. What do you think? Do you think it'd be a good idea for me to do that or whatever? And I was really quite shocked when they really supported my choice. I told them that, you know, if I were to be lucky enough to be selected for this, that I would resign from them. But I also told them that I would not resign from them until this. Fortunately, we have another meeting tomorrow. So at tomorrow's meeting is when I will give them my formal resignation.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So I do have a question then. Can we appoint, if we were to appoint him to the seat, can we do that prior to him resigning the other seat?
Yes, because he won't be doing his oath of office and be seated until the January 9th meeting. So you would have to approve it contingent on him resigning prior to the January 9th meeting. And as long as he does that, then you're good.
If I may, I will just concur with what you were saying earlier, James, regarding the Bill and Sherry in particular. I would agree with your responses as well. They were spot on. It was very clear. You spoke very clearly, Sherry, you did, and Bill did as well. So I think you appreciate your honesty and your being very focused and very clear with your responses.
And that's not to take away from
No.
anybody else, it's
No.
just, their manner of presentation just seemed very professional, sort of practiced. Well, if there's no further discussion, I guess we're looking for a motion.
I'll make a motion that we appoint Bill Gritzmaker to the vacant council seat contingent on the fact that he resigns from the Blissfield Township Board of Trustees.
I'll second that motion.
All right, moved in second, we have that subtle nuance addition.
Yes.
Okay, Lisa, you want to call the roll, please?
Mike,
Yes.
Gwen,
Yes.
Tim,
No.
Jerry,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
James.
Yes. That motion passes. Congratulations, Bill. Thank you for your desire to serve. Thank you all for those who came out tonight. We really appreciate the desire. So everybody had.
Is to be applauded.
Yes, everyone's to be applauded and very tough candidate pool. So please don't be discouraged depending on the vote. Certain things resonate with certain individuals, so.
Don't worry,
Thank you.
we're not discouraged. We'll all primary you in a couple years.
Don't forget 2 open seats on planning commission.
Yeah.
I'd love to have any of it.
Reports. Do we have any questions about administration, police, treasurer, and library reports?
My only comment about the library report, Danielle, if you are having any opportunity to talk with them, thank you very much for the detailed reports that we are receiving from the library. It's very much appreciated. It was something I know we've asked for, and we are now receiving that information. Thank you.
I will share that with them.
Any other questions on any other reports?
I just want to say I appreciate the chief's reports. I'm sure it takes a lot of time. We look at these sheets and we think, well, they're just numbers, but it's taken a lot of time to put it in there. So thank you for a well-written report.
I appreciate that, but I can't take credit. That records management system does a lot of the work for me, so.
Talk about technology. Yeah, technology.
That's my endorsement when it comes up for.
All right, thank you. Moving on, council discussion.
I think the only discussion is we have our committee to hold next month regarding the gee whiz, what's the word I'm looking for? You
The
guys.
attorney review.
Thank you.
Yeah.
The attorney
Legal
review.
representation.
Thank you.
And we added,
Generac onto that as well.
yes, they'll go hand in hand.
And then that would be the first meeting of the month, then is when Bill would be formally.
Correct, yes, we will do his oath of office at the January 9th meeting.
And then.
So from now until then, I'll get with him, get all of his stuff that he needs and any questions he has, up to speed on whatever I can and hopefully prepare him a little bit, so.
Sounds good.
I have something that's not directly council related, but I do wanna, this Saturday is a Reason Across America Day here at the Blissfield Cemetery, out here at Pleasant View. This is our 5th year for this project. Started, like I said, 5 years ago. We have enough donations generated through our village to cover every veteran's grave that is in our township. This is the 5th year for doing that. I would invite anyone to come out there on Saturday. It starts at 12 o'clock noon. It's a relatively short ceremony, and then everyone is invited to come out and actually lay a wreath on a veteran's grave at our cemetery. I'd love to see y'all there. Hopefully the weather is cooperative, at least it's not raining, or I can deal with snow. Last year we had rain and it was a little cold with the rain, but I can deal with the snow or the cold. But I would love to have everybody out there if they come out. It's a good thing. Our Legion is involved, and we have several other organizations within the village that are involved. And there are many donations that were received from our businesses, our community, our residents of the village and the township. It's it's a pretty cool thing if anybody has been out there. I look forward to it and hope to see you there.
Anything else?
Just like to thank Laura and her crew for another weekend full of fun in town, and all of the employees of the village who make that happen as well. Pretty good turnout for Wassel the other night, and Parade of Lights was fantastic this year.
Yes.
I heard several comments about the number of participants in the parade, so.
Again, I can't take credit, it's for all the committee, they are amazing, both committees.
Right.
Very good.
Piggyback on that, we are in the holiday season, so I wish everybody a safe and wonderful holiday season with your friends and family. And to all the village employees, just thank you for what you do. And I hope 2023 is a fruitful year for council and everyone involved. So that's the end of council discussion. Public comments, items not on the agenda. I know we do have one individual wishing to speak. Mr. Baker, I do.
Thanks for this time.
Please state your name and address for the record.
Frank Baker, 273 South Monroe Street.
Thank you, sir.
And I'm not a lifelong Blissfield resident, but something around 50 years or so. It feels like a lifetime.
So you were a kid. You were a kid when you moved here.
Like most people measuring probably was. We brought my family here, and I assume most all of you know my history, so I don't need to go into that, I think. But my interest in sustainability goes all the way back to the beginning when I came to this community. Actually, even a little before that, working for General Motors, my first assignments had to do with the environment. Waste treatment, water discharges, energy efficiency within the plant. All of those initiatives began while I was a freshman in the plant engineering department in the Toledo plant, ultimately up here in Adrian. So my interest in these issues is long and deep. And I've been very concerned about these issues all along. And I'm sure Eric will tell you that I've preached that sermon at Riverbend and Ensign for a long time. And a recent development got me thinking that we need to start really doing a more effective job at the local level in planning for sustainability. And the recent passing by the Lenawee County Board of Commissioners of the Energy Efficiency and Renewable Energy Resolution back in mid-September got me thinking that's a really good first step, but it's only a first step. We really have to develop a plan for how we're going to get to that level of energy efficiency. It's really about safety and health when you ultimately boil it right down to the bottom line. If we don't start coming up with a plan for sustainability, not only at the national level or the world level, but right down here at the local level. In fact, it all starts at the local level. Not much happens up above if we don't get it addressed down below. So I drafted a letter to the council, and I think this letter could go to almost any council within Lenawee County, any village, any planning commission. It's relevant to everyone. And in fact, the template for developing a sustainability plan would almost be identical from community to community. And there are many templates out there that would make this job relatively easy. Mr. Eitzen asked me where, very appropriately, who ought to be working on something like this? And immediately my thoughts turned to the Planning Commission, having been on the Planning Commission for 6 years and chairman for 3 years when we developed the first comprehensive master plan for the village. That just seemed like the obvious place to begin that process. I'd also turned to all you new residents. I was really impressed, frankly, that there was 5 out of 8 candidates who applied this evening for a village office that are new to this community. That's really noteworthy. And to be able to tap that kind of young, enthusiastic blood to help in these processes is really encouraging, especially when I look in the mirror and I realize I'm not that young guy I used to be, and I just don't have that depth of energy that I used to have. I still have the commitment, but the energy is diminishing. But my enthusiasm has not diminished, and my concerns have not diminished. So I'm encouraging the village to embark upon this process of developing a sustainability plan for the community. This touches on almost every aspect of village operations. I'm happy to help in whatever way I can, but I think the planning commission ought to be charged with this process, and ultimately the entire community needs to get involved in this process. If you don't get the entire community involved, you're going to miss a huge resource of talent to bring to this, and enable education of a much broader cross-section. And we're working on educational aspects of this too. Some of you may have seen my website that my son Pete has helped with immensely, lenwaysolar.com. And within this group, we're also working with a number of different individuals, very noteworthy people within the state and community, to get the Farm Museum and Education Center also to be recognized as a place where you would go to get this kind of information and education, and reach out to our youth, both within the FFA and the 4-H and many other similar groups within our community to help in this educational process. So I could go on for some time, as Eric will verify. When I get on this subject, I can really go. But I'm happy to field any questions, comments, and go from there.
I don't have any questions for you at this moment, but I would like to thank you for bringing this to our attention. I think this is something we can definitely move to initially the planning committee, and then as a village, globally as a whole. We'll certainly take your comments into consideration. Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Baker? No. Thank you again for your time, sir.
You bet.
So we do have the committee of the whole agenda preview. We've added Generac to it. Any other additions this time?
Yes, not to drag it out, but having a full council now, having a fresh council with November elections come through, I think we should come together as a board. And again, let's reiterate what we want to accomplish over the next 2 years as a board. What are our priorities? What is the direction that we want to move forward with? And again, how do we want to work together? And what do we want to accomplish over the 2 years? I think that's a good time for us to revisit that.
We've done that last couple of times. I think it was a January kind of time frame as well.
So I think legal services evaluations in Generac is going to soak up most of the night. We move that to February and give Mr. Gritsmaker just a few weeks to work with us and then bring some ideas to the table. Would you be okay with February? All right, so can we set that as a meeting of the whole agenda issue for February? Thank you for that, Mike.
Perhaps in addition to that, perhaps we could have Danielle on our list of what we've had in the past. That would be helpful to kind of review as well to see where we were.
Yeah, and if we can get that out fairly soon, that'll give us some time, because we do have a pretty light month from here on out. With that said, for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
You shoot my job, but not anyone.
I'll say.
Jerry, thank you. Lisa, please call the roll.
Gwen,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
Jerry,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
James.
Yes, meeting adjourned. Next meeting, January 9th, 2023. We'll see you all in the new year. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, everyone.